Welcome everybody to our first episode of the Chinuch Call-In podcast, the Call-In show. So the way it's going to work, everyone can hear it. The way it's going to work is that we're going to, there we go. Okay, so this is our first time. So we're learning as we go. So please bear with us as we learn. For starters, our microphones. Anyway, point is we're gonna start. So the way it works is that people submit their questions by Thursday night, which means you can send it to me. And then we're gonna review it. We're gonna work on figuring out the right approach to it. And then we're going to basically that person calls in on Monday and we discuss it. We help them find solutions. I also wanted to speak about we started this Chinuch podcast before Corona, so before Purim. And if you want to go check out a different version of us just having discussions about basic fundamentals in Chinuch and how we got them from Chassidus, how we got them from Torah, how we got them from our Chinuch Mashpia. So you can go check it out on our YouTube channel. You can just search Living Chassidus on YouTube, and then one of the playlists, if you go look for one of the playlists, is Chinuch podcast or the Chinuch podcast series. So you can check those out. We try as much as we can to base all of our answers on Torah. That said, we are not perfect and we are flawed human beings, so we may make mistakes. So let's begin. So we had one of our questions for this past week.
Baruch Hashem had a few questions.
Yeah, we had a Baruch Hashem. It's a great selection. So we had one of our questions had to do with two young sisters. One is about 2 years old. The other one, I think, is 18 months or so. No, that can't be right. I don't know exactly. No, she must be 7 or 8 months. And the younger sister gets, whatever it is that she's having, a bottle or she has a toy or whatever. And the older sister always wants the same thing, like always wants to have whatever the younger sister has. So the first thing we want to do is hear the question, I guess a little bit more details about it from the mother who submitted the question. So if you want to unmute yourself and share a little bit, we're more than happy to. Hello.
Okay, so basically, like anytime they're together, well, it's not all the time, that sounds bad, but anyways, no, like if I'm giving the baby like anything, or like if I'll put a toy in front of her, my older daughter like comes and within seconds she like takes it away and she's like, no. But it's not all the time, like she is gentle with her and like she also comes and she gives her kisses and whatever, but like if I don't know, it's just like at random times, but it's usually like she doesn't want her having her toys, or like you said, giving a bottle. Like if I ever give the baby a bottle, like the other one was milk. And yesterday, like, and also now that the baby has baby food, so the other one's always like applesauce, and like she has to. Yesterday she had prune, even though it's disgusting, just because I was giving the baby prune, and she would never eat prune, but because the baby was having prune, she had prune. So yeah.
Okay. So if we understand correctly, so basically there's different approach. There's different times where the older sister wants what the baby is getting. So therefore it gets kind of hard to. Which part of it is hard, that you don't want to give her the same things? Sorry. Welcome to Kingston. That you don't want to give her the same things, or do you think that it comes from not good place?
No, it's just like, one is I don't want her to be jealous. I mean, I hope she's not, but it's just like, it's not so fair to the baby that like every single time I give her a toy or something, like the older one pulls it away and she can't just let her have a toy. And it's not like these toys are necessarily hers. Like could be even a new toy just for the baby. It's not like it was her toy.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So then I guess, so something we've seen, when it comes to these kinds of situations in our own home is, so
Maybe can I ask one more question?
yeah, go for
Just
it.
a question. Why do you feel she's doing it? Is it because her youngest sister is getting more attention or getting more new things? Is it that she's lacking attention, or like, why do you think she's choosing, like, she's trying to do this?
I really have no idea, because like she gets way more attention than the baby, like a ton more. And I don't know, like maybe it's because in that moment to get attention. I really have no idea, honestly, because she in general gets a lot more attention. And also, like, even if I don't even think it's that she wanted that specific toy, because I'm always like, okay, give the baby a toy now. Okay, you want this toy, but it's not that she wants that toy. She doesn't want the baby to have any toy.
So, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You want me to try?
Yeah, go.
So I just have to preface that not being there's always room for error. So you'll know, you have to assess what we're saying based off what you're seeing. But it seems from what we're hearing, and when we discussed this, it seems like maybe as much as you say you're giving her attention, it must be, but it could be maybe try to change the style of attention, of the attention you're giving her. And it seems like on a simplistic level, seems to us it's a type of jealousy. She feels that her youngest sister is getting more attention. It could be not quantity, but it could be quality and things like this. And one of the ways you can sort of help the older sister, older daughter, is making her feel older and more special. It's like you could say, do you want this special? Oh, you get dressed yourself, like you're older, go now, you get dressed, and like you're not like a little kid that doesn't get dressed, but like, are you playing with the older kids' toys? Because this is for the older kids, and then sort of the kid, your older child doesn't want to play with the younger child, or play with the younger child thing. Once like applesauce, you can sort of, you don't have to say it exactly this way, but it's like, you want baby applesauce, or do you want adult?
Big girl
food.
Something, whatever.
And that could help, like, no, yeah, I'm a big girl. I'm not like this little girl, this baby. I want big food, and then you can give them other things, and that can really help you in the direction of getting her to do what you like, eat what you want.
Yeah. So again, it's not putting down the younger. It's not saying like, oh, you really don't want that babyish thing.
Yeah.
But it's more like lifting her up, that she realizes that she's different. Because I think part of what might be happening is that it might be that she wants this thing because it became special because the baby has it. So for example, even if it's the baby's toy and it's not her toy necessarily, but the fact that the baby has it, it already makes it different and special. And oh, she has it and I don't. So if you make something like preempted, so we have a big scar that we live by, or at least I live by, Sur Mirava Aseta. So we move away from a negative situation, but we immediately do something positive with it, or even preempted by something positive. So something positive we could do is say the baby, give her something like a big girl something, and make her feel so special because she's a big girl. That way she won't feel the need to get something else.
And it could be also in things that Shorty does. Let's say she says brachas, she says a bracha before she eats versus the younger sister not. So you can compliment that and say, oh, you're such a big girl. You act like a big girl. You say big girl brachas, and things like this. And then she stops like necessarily focusing or caring about the younger sister's world. She has her own world.
Do you think that would help, or are maybe we're missing something?
Yeah, I probably don't make so much of a big deal about like the big girl or whatever, because she's also very little. She's only 1.5, the older one, but she understands very much. Like it makes a lot of sense. Like, just be like, okay, but this is for big girls and that's for little girls or whatever. I think she'll definitely understand that.
Right, exactly. And then
but also
to feel special.
I think the problem is also like already when she, like, let's say like the baby's playing with a toy or something and then she goes and takes it away. So then I'm like, okay, what am I doing now? I have to give her attention, like my older daughter attention, because like, because whatever. So then she's almost like in a way, like getting attention for doing something that wasn't right. But like, so that's why I don't really like it so much. Cause I'm like, but if I preempt it, like, okay, like I know if I'm giving the baby a toy, I know she's going to get upset. So, okay, I'm going to like immediately go and maybe even before I give baby a toy, like, oh, this is your special big girl toy or something. If that makes sense. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. Especially because you're right. So she is getting the attention afterwards. And yeah, it's negative attention. So that's really great to preempt it. Any other parts that we may have missed?
About that situation.
Yeah, I guess about that situation for now, because we're gonna have we have another sibling situation.
Yeah, okay, I think that was the crux of it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, there's something here. Someone shared a very good tip. I'm gonna share it now. 1 second, let me just find it. Right, someone said, a tip, I get the older one to help out with the younger, feed her, bring her the food, and praise her for helping. If it's something healthy she wants, let them both eat. If something not for her, can just say, this is for you, this is for her. So basically, if I'm understanding correctly, what this person wrote is that one of the ways that they make the older sibling feel special is by getting them to help with the younger sibling. So feeding the younger sibling or bringing food or whatever, and then giving her that praise for doing that, which is really, really great. I love that. And if it's something healthy that she wants that they can both eat, so they should both eat. And if not, then this is like the big one for you, like for a big girl, and this is the other food for the younger girl. So you separate it from there. So thank you so much for everyone, for whoever sent that.
Yeah.
And that way she doesn't get jealous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good idea, but also it separates the two, as the older one sees herself and her role in the family dynamic differently. She becomes out of the parent side. It's very good.
Yeah. The only thing I want to mention, I'm not such a huge fan on, and not necessarily with this comment, but in general, is to say to the older sibling that this is your baby. Well, you could say this is your sister, because it is her sister, but I've seen some sibling rivalry things get more sticky when the older sibling thinks that the younger baby is their own. Which I know it's like there's a certain shit that would saying that, but I haven't seen the best results from that, because then if the younger sibling wants to do something, or wants something a certain way, the older sibling feels like they have ownership over the younger sibling and they have to be done the way they want it. So just something put out there. Okay, so we have another question. What? So we have another question of a okay. We have another question, which is kind of 3 questions, but they kind of go on similar topics. When an older brother is acting, so if this brother is 3 years old and is acting a bit wild with the younger brother, and we do want to add in some information that like the family just, or not just, but recently had a baby, so things are a little bit more intense, just like every adjustment is more intense. So I wanted to see if the mother wants to tell us a bit more about what's happening.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry, that's our baby in the
Hey,
background. Hi. So yes, so we had some issues with our 3-year-old. What will happen is, there was a couple things. One is that like he'll be playing with his blocks or whatever, and then our 18-month-old will come and just totally knock them down, and then he'll be I guess he'll like hit him or whatever. So that's like one instance. And the other instance with hitting is like sometimes it's seemingly like unprompted. He'll also just like will just hit my 18-month-old. So there's kind of two things there. One is seems to be prompted, and one seems to be like we can't really see like where it was coming from, sort of thing. So that's the one side. I don't know if I should go on.
Okay.
Do that first.
So how old is the younger brother?
He's 18 months.
18 months. Okay, so there's 3-year-old and 18-month-old. And so one of the things had to do with the blocks, which makes a lot of sense because for a 3-year-old, he's learning how to build and getting very creative. And for an 18-month-old, he's learning how to get himself into things. So that situation sounds very common. And then the other one what you mentioned was that you're not quite sure what led to it. It's more like unexpected. Right?
Yeah.
I guess in regards to, let's say the younger kid, younger one, 18-month-old, coming destroying the older one. So if I remember correctly, you're saying that the older one comes and then gets frustrated, and sometimes he hits. Not like in sort of retaliation or out of frustration over the situation. So that's
Yeah.
So there's a few
It's a game from both of them. Like my 18-month-old knows what's gonna happen, and like he knows what's gonna happen, and also my 3-year-old also is upset because he keeps coming to break it. So it's kind of hard because both of their chinuch is kind of like it's kind of like my 18-month-old. I don't know. You almost just kind of like want to say like natural consequence sort of thing. That's what's gonna happen if you keep breaking your brother's toy, but at the same time, I want to teach my other son, obviously, that's not okay to hit.
Yeah.
Right. But
I think this is it's a little bit of a difficult. Yeah. No, I think in general, it's a difficulty that, on one hand, like you're saying, you want the kid to understand the natural consequences of actions, but at the same hand, you don't want the natural consequences in the house to be his kid, they're hitting each other.
Yeah, so I think we'll start with the one with the blocks. So I think we kind of spoke about this, but I think a huge part of it, again, the same style of Sir Merav Aseitai. So on the one hand, we want to give us a positive space for your 3-year-old to be able to build, because on the one hand, it's a beautiful thing that he's building, and we want to make sure that he feels accomplished with it. Imagine for myself, if I had to rebuild every single time, I feel that way sometimes when I'm like washing dishes and like dirty dishes just keep coming, just like never ending, and it gets harder. So I can understand why he's upset. So on the one hand, we want to make a space for him to play where he is safe and he's able to build without getting, if physically possible, like I don't know exactly how the space works out in your house, but physically possible to make a space for him to be able to build. On the other hand, the way he reacts to the situation, to when it does happen that his younger brother comes and breaks what he had built, his reaction, we can give him a beautiful dose of understanding Hashgacha Pratis, of realizing that it's all coming from Hashem, that like, yes, it's your brother, but it's all actually coming from Hashem. So again, these are kind of lofty concepts for a 3-year-old, but at the same time, they're in that age and stage where if you have a discussion with them now, they could start seeing it that way. So for example, hopefully he'll have a separate space to build where his brother is not going to come bother him. But if it does happen and his tower comes crashing down, so if you're able to be there, I know you just had a baby, but if you're able to be there and preempt before he gets upset and say, okay, 1 second, how are we going to deal with this? I know this is so sad, and like really be empathetic for it, because it is really sad that his thing got destroyed. So I'm so sad about that. That said, how should we deal with it? Maybe we could teach your younger brother not to do it again. Maybe we could say, I don't know what, younger brother, like, please don't do that, and teach him to react by speaking nicely. So that will it actually help? The younger brother's probably not going to know the difference between please don't do that or anything else, but it will be a start in teaching him how to deal with his emotions, how to deal with the situation. Like, wow, I'm so sorry, but it's Hashgacha Pratis. Maybe Hashem wants you to build something even nicer, and that's why He made it this way. That